We're good.
Good.
So it's been said that in life there is black and white, and there's no gray area. I have my gray area. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the Bardi Shop is with one of the most intelligent, physically fit, he's lucky I'm married, guys, I know, Mr. Wayne Gray.
Thank you very much.
So tonight's episode is, I need a complete fitness overhaul. And you know, you worked with me at the store for a while,
Yep,
so
long time.
my thing, I've always helped people get themselves in check and in order and straighten out their fitness and their nutrition and their life. But I suck at doing it for myself. So I thought I'd bring in my guru and have Wayne come in. So prior to filming tonight, we went over to Northeast Sports Training and we did a body fat assessment. That's going to be at the, it's going to be added to this video afterwards. I'm not as fat as I thought. So what I want Wayne to do is I want him to take everything I'm doing, my nutrition, my training program, and I want a complete overhaul, and I'm going to document the whole thing.
Yep.
So how many days a week are you going to have me weigh in?
2 to 3, probably 2, beginning, end of the week. We'll start out probably Monday, Fridays, morning, empty stomach, ideally, and then we'll go from there.
I really can't wait because it's been, so I'm 41 years old and working out since I was 15. So 26 years I've been working out, but I've been working out the same way. I just think I need to completely mix it up. And I eat, I mean, you see the way I eat, my wife cooks very well. So I eat healthy, but it's just, I haven't seen any real progress. I want to say it was probably like 2006 when Anthony Moretti put me on a diet and I ripped down, but I was all natural. Like it was just like, and I feel like I just got too thin. I felt like I was lean, but I felt like I was sick all day.
There's certain ways to do it. You want to make sure as you're getting leaner, as you're, losing body fat, basically the goal is to get your body to work for you. And that's kind of what we're going to go over and what we're going to get to happen. You want to build your metabolism to a point that it'll work for you, not against you. You know what I mean? So it's not always just pull calories, pull calories, pull calories. It's how do you do it optimally, not just, toss it to the wind.
And my thing is I want to maintain, I'm not concerned with strength. I know at a certain level you have to be in order to maintain.
A certain degree, you don't want to, get weaker or feel, like less of an athlete or anything like that.
But then I think that's my ego. Like a lot of times I feel like I want to maintain some level of strength.
Yeah.
And it's probably,
There's
probably
no
not
reason why
doing
you
anything, but that's the thing. I've never done that. I've either been 205, 210,
thick, strong,
or I've been down to like the high 180s and I was just tired, lethargic. That's what I want to avoid. But I'm more interested at this point. I want you to get me in the best shape for a 42-year-old guy. So my birthday's in August. I want August 14th. I want my wife to look at me and be like, I really want him physically. I don't want to have to get her drunk first.
Yeah,
it works. It works in the meantime. So why don't we go over the assessment you just put me through?
So basically, really basic. We took you in. We did, skin caliper. So just skin fold caliper pinches. We did a 7-site assessment test. It's really what I like to use it for as a baseline, right? Like I was saying before, it's, there's a million ways to measure body fat. You have, bod pod, skin fold. None of them are 100%. You're never going to get, it's more about the consistency, having the same person do it, multiple times over and over, and then building consistency in that baseline. So, whether you're using a bod pod, skin fold, DEXA, whatever it might be, there's going to be some degree of variance. And you came back at 15.8%, which is,
I was happy because that's I just assumed I was between 14 and like 17.
Yeah, and
that's
just
what I
like
thought
I said, just by looking at you, I was like 14 to 16. That was like my bit, looking at, and that's a good lean body composition for your size, your age, your height and stuff like that. I think
Go on.
Oh, keep going. Stroke that ego a little bit. Nah, but like we were saying, I think the goal for you is to lean you down as much as possible. And then if you tell me, hey, Wayne, we got to whatever the weight might be, it's 186 or whatever, just for an arbitrary number. From there we can build your metabolism, build up some size and strength. If you want to, you might get to 190 and be like, man, I feel awesome. And then we just, we stick there.
It's
and
funny.
We just kind of tailor things. There's also ways, we can keep you at the same weight. If you feel great at 190, we start to include a little bit more calories and stuff like that. And now, where, say for a given number, your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and that's just how many calories your body burns just existing.
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch, you're not doing anything for that day. Let's say for a number, it's 2,700 calories. You know what I mean? It's probably lower than that.
Every BMR I've ever done, I was between 25 and 2750.
So that would probably include like daily caloric expenditure and stuff like that too. So like I said, it just for a number, say it's like 2,700.
Told you he was the smartest guy I know.
Maybe I don't even go that far, but if that's true, then that's fucking scary. But Anyway, so say, yeah, for an arbitrary number, it's 2,700, maybe, we bring you back down, we build you back up. Now, all of a sudden, after that first kind of like, say, diet cycle, whatever you want to call it, say it's 3 or 4 months, now all of a sudden that number's 2,800, 2,850, you know what I mean? So now you can eat a little bit more. It's going to fluctuate, you know what I mean? And none of this stuff, it's how do I describe it? It's a simple concept, but that doesn't make it easy. You know what I mean? Dieting, gaining weight, losing weight, eating for performance, it's simple. It doesn't make it easy. You know what I mean?
The hard part is, and you worked in the store with me, is trying to incorporate that in your life, because you have obligations. We have a house we got to take care of. We have 5 cats. We don't have kids. Don't ask me why. We'll get into another episode.
5 cats.
But just everybody has something interfering. So, and I always found I never had a problem because I don't have children. Putting everything else aside and making sure I can fit my meals in. I work at a desk all day, for lifespan. So I can just sit at my desk and eat all day. A lot of people can't do that.
Exactly.
So I think that obstacle right there, and again, we've seen it, is why a lot of people stumble, or they start and they never get to where they want.
For someone like that, I would suggest, like, you don't necessarily have to eat the typical bodybuilder style diet.
And that's exactly what I do.
Don't have to. You know what I mean? For you, maybe it's we dial you back to 4 meals a day. Maybe we dial you to 3. Maybe it's one day intermittent fasting, one day you don't. Like, there's so many ways to play with it. And I've literally played with, I think, just about every style of, quote unquote, dieting.
You used to literally try everything.
And I still do. I've tried, the only thing that I haven't really done is like a full vegan style diet. That's really the only thing that, but that's really the only thing that I haven't, fully committed to. I've done, an intermittent fasting. For me, when I want to lean out a lot easier, I usually stick with like some form of intermittent fasting, on and on. There's nothing magical about intermittent fasting. What do you do for your window? So I would typically do like an 8-hour eating window.
That's what I would do. 12 to 8.
Fast, 8 hour. Some maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, give or take. But again, there's nothing magical about intermittent fasting. It's a good way to restrict calories. I don't think
it works.
It works. Oh, it works.
Fast,
it definitely works. You know what I mean? But yeah, for you, I really think the best approach, and what we're going to play around with, like we talked about earlier, is a little bit of a carb cycling approach. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to have to sit down and kind of map it out a little bit more, but just off the top of my head, I think a really good way to start would be to go maybe 2 to 3 days lower carbohydrate. And this is what I use typically. Right now, I'm a little bit higher carb. I was telling you the other day than I normally am. Yeah. But it's not that carbs are bad. I don't want, people to think, all of a sudden these people start thinking carbohydrates are bad. You need them for performance generally. I eat carbs, right now, as we said, I eat carbs 6 times a day. Yep. I eat carbs from my first meal to my last. Occasionally, like, you have those days where you just feel bloated. On those days, what I'll do is I'll just do I'll do a dozen eggs before bed. Yep. 10 white and 2 whole, and I'll throw like a cup of spinach in there. Yeah. So, but again, for the most part, 5 to 6 meals a day all have carbs. Yep. So what I think we're going to do is something where, on your, lower carbohydrate day, say 3 days a week, and we go, 3 days low, 1 day a little bit high. So on the 3 days that you're lower, we're still going to put you in a pretty significant, caloric deficit, maybe say 20%. Calorie deficit, right? I'm so excited. Say it puts you at 2,300 calories a day for, a random number, whatever. 2,300 calories a day, 100 to 150 grams of carbs that day. Protein should typically always be set right around, a gram per pound of body weight. That old school, bodybuilder, like that's like the golden rule. Yeah. I would say, I find most people have the best success 1 gram to, 1.25 grams per pound of body weight. That's what I've always done. I do a little bit better, a little bit higher protein. So I go around that like 1.15, 1.25, right around there. But I'm always around 220 usually. But I've never, I'm the same way. I've never really gone like 300 grams a day or something like that. I have, and I'll say for me, I noticed I was able to, digest it well. I felt good. It's just not sustainable sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't. It's tough to eat that much all the time. It is a lot. At one point I was eating over 300 grams of protein a day just from food, and that's, you just get sick from eating. Yeah, exactly. It's weird. It's a job. Like, it is. That's exactly what it is. So yeah. Anyways, for you, that's what I would like to see. And then the fats. As the carbs titrate down, you're going to bring your fats up a little bit. You know what I mean? See how you do. Some people do phenomenal with a higher fat diet. I feel great. I would say in general, I do better with a little bit of a higher fat diet. There's usually like a little bit of like, say like a week to 2 week window where your body's kind of adjusting. It's learning how to kind of operate on a little bit of different fuel. See, that's where I've stopped it in the past. Like, I've tried doing this before, like the carb cycling, and within like the first 3 to 5 days, I noticed I was like kind of flat, sunken, and I get scared. I'm like, oh shit, I feel like shit, I look like shit. But then that's just the adjustment period. That's the calcium period. And what you'll notice, I've quit too, at that point. And exactly, and what I'm going to kind of tweak with you and what I did. So the first time I did more of a ketogenic or carb cycling approach was probably 3 or 4 years ago, did it completely wrong. I wasn't paying attention to water intake, electrolyte intake, and stuff like that. The electrolyte intake is key.
Well, you said that yesterday when I was grocery shopping. I'm like, oh, should I get bacon? You get high
sodium
sodium
bit of
content.
higher sodium intake. You know what I mean? It's not going to kill you as long as you know everything's you're healthy
anyway.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. As you bring down the carbohydrate, right? Carbs retain water. So as you bring that down, you need to titrate up sodium a little bit. And I'm not saying start guzzling salt.
No, but just so your muscles hold on to some water.
Lightly salt your meals. You know what I mean? Add a little bit. A turn or two of salt.
I do like sea salt in my eggs and stuff like that.
Himalayan sea salt's the best. It has that.
I think that's
pink
exactly
Himalayan sea salt. Yeah, it has the highest sodium content. But anyway, so keeping the electrolyte balance solid is actually what's going to allow you to retain a little bit more of that fullness or a pump and stuff like that. And that's what the high carb day also helps out a lot
to kind of restore your glycogen levels.
So we're gonna tailor you down to say like I said 150 grams of carbs say a day for 3 days, and then on that 4th day we bring you back up to 300 grams. Right, that's gonna top off your glycogen.
Oh, you'll fill right out.
Oh, you'll fill right out. All of a sudden you're gonna go vascular. You're gonna your workout the next day or that day is gonna feel phenomenal.
Everybody loves a vascular man.
You know what I mean? And when I do that, I play with certain things. Sometimes, like I said, say I put you in a 20% calorie deficit on the lower carbohydrate days. On the higher carb day, I might have you at like a 10% calorie deficit. You're still in a deficit, but it allows your metabolism to upregulate a little bit, and that way you don't stall out. And that's one big thing you see with people, right? They're dieting, they're trying to lose weight, and all of a sudden they've been in a calorie deficit for 6 months.
Your body just stops.
Your body goes into starvation mode at some point.
Oh God, yeah.
And it basically just. It gets to the point where it's like, well, this is my new set point. You know what I mean? The body wants to always be in a state of homeostasis.
It has to be.
It wants to be chilled out. So that's why you need to do something a little bit more, say, drastic as far as like training or dieting or something to a certain point. If you're in the place that you're at, and we're talking about you right now, right? I'm not talking about for a general person who wants to come in for weight loss, hasn't done much training in their life.
And it's so funny too. Like I always consider myself like, for 41 years old, like advanced. I've been training for so long. I've avoided major injuries.
And you are 100%, yeah.
But hearing all this, I feel really dumb. I feel really dumb. Yeah. I feel like Forrest Gump right now is what I feel like. But
Forrest Gump is
I know, I wish I could run like him. But it's weird just having talked to you about this.
Yep.
Like I psychologically, I'm so motivated just talking about it again. Like,
awesome.
This is what
I could tell yesterday when you were like,
dude, what
do I have for dinner? And I'm like,
I was grocery shopping last night.
So I got out of training last night and I see it. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't answer him right. So I'm telling him, like, this is what I would do for today. He's like, all right, it sounds good.
I must have texted him 20 times last night when I was grocery shopping. So I literally started last night. So today I think I've eaten 4 times. I had 100 like weighed grams of oatmeal before my workout, and then before we left to come meet you tonight, I had 2 scoops of protein with another 100 grams of oatmeal. That's all I've had for carbs today. Everything else is I had a half of an avocado with eggs. I had bacon, and I did a mix of chicken breast and chicken thighs. I did 7 ounces of that with like 6 bacon strips. And I'm telling you, like I've always been afraid to cut carbs because I think I feel amazing today. I feel fine.
So I'll say from personal experience, what I noticed, I did a pretty intense, you could call it like, it was kind of this guy, his name is Dr. Mauro Pasquale. He started the anabolic diet, probably like, oh man.
I feel like we've talked about him before.
We probably did, yeah. So very popular. It was called the anabolic diet. And basically one of his big things was he would put people through basically a hard, say 2-week keto reset where you eat pretty much no carbohydrates, no starchy carbs anyway, just to reset, your insulin sensitivity and, kind of bring, you know what I mean? So kind of bring all that stuff back to check. And then when you do start eating carbs, you just blow up. So I honestly, so what I did was I went 2 weeks, no carbohydrate basically, and then started cycling it in. I did 5 to 6 days low, 1 day high. And on the high day, you're eating, I was having like 500-600 grams of carbs, and I would just blow up, fill up. But I'd also just get tired immediately.
Oh, because you're insulin.
I just get these crazy insulin spikes and dips to where I would just like pass out.
Yes, diabetes.
But I'll tell you, like the next day, the workouts were phenomenal, and I experimented with that. I did that for about 3 months. Felt good. I felt like for me, just training multiple times a day, sometimes doing like, a little bit of, weight training and then a little bit of jujitsu or anything like that. I felt like I was kind of, I didn't have like that second gear. So I started including a little bit more carbohydrate in my diet and stuff like that. But, it's at the end of the day, and this is what I'd like really like to get across to people, you got to find what works for you.
I like sustainability.
Thank you.
I like sustainability.
That's what matters. It's at the end of the day, it's consistency that trumps
Yeah,
everything.
so-
what can you be consistent? Like, I don't want you to find a style of eating that you like for 2 months. I want you to find a style that you can stay consistent with for the next 20 years.
This is exactly why when I was growing up, a lot of the guys I was going to the gym with, we all took steroids when we were kids. Everybody did. But I noticed the amounts that people were taking, like astronomical, for 20, 21 years old, ridiculous. Now you look at a lot of these people now, and they don't go to the gym anymore. They're out of shape. They're blown out. They look old. I always said, I want to do a fraction of what they're doing and maintain something for a long period of time.
Exactly.
So I try to take that mindset with how I train, how I eat, just everything. Like
it's
I don't like things that you
is
can.
The name of the game.
Don't tell me I could borrow your Lamborghini for an hour.
Exactly.
I don't care about an hour. I want a lifetime. Like so. Again, circling back to all this, like everything you're telling me, I literally want to shut all this shit off and go to the gym right now. I want to go to the gym right now. Is what I want to do. So that brings me to my next question. So now, I know we've talked about this, but for everyone out there who's watching and listening, all three of you. So now I go to the gym and I do like a traditional bodybuilding style workout. But I've been putting the workouts up on Instagram. Everything's done circuit style, so high intensity, no rest, and I move. My workout's only about 45 minutes long. So I'll do weights one day, the traditional weight workout, and then the next day is a barbell complex. I do 5 rounds, anywhere between 30 to 50 reps, and that'll be my workout. And maybe I'll do it, but for my warm-ups, I do a lot of band work. I do 100 push-ups a day. So, and that's what I rotate. So I train 6 days, like traditional workout complex, and then I take Mondays off. What should I be doing? Because I am that guy that I can tell people how to get out of their comfort zone. I don't. I stay with what I'm comfortable with. I have no problem.
We all do. We all naturally do. Like for me, like personally, when I train, I did all my own programs up until about 2 years ago. Since then, I've actually paid other coaches to write programs for me.
Is it easier to take the thinking out of it?
Dude, it makes you more accountable. This is what I got to do.
Thank you.
And even with the base of knowledge that I have, and I could easily, and people would ask me like, dude, why are you doing that? Like, you could easily write this for yourself. I was like, trust me, I have for the last 10 years. And
but you'll build it based on what you're comfortable with.
And don't get me wrong, I'll tweak little things based on what I know I have to do, but it's just, sometimes you need someone else to kind of take an outside look at what you're doing. And like we talked about earlier, just providing yourself with a little bit of a different stimulus, different from what you've done for say the last 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is. It goes a long way.
I don't do I squat. I showed you the video of me squatting. I don't deadlift because I know my form's off. I hurt myself every time. I couldn't tell you. Actually, I could tell you the last time I bench pressed. I was spotting a kid from Texas who goes to the gym with me, and he's trying to get his bench up to like 315. He's doing everything I'm telling him to do. He hits it within like 3 weeks. Great. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see what I can do. So I laid down. I haven't benched in like 2 years. And I hit 305 easily. Couldn't move my right shoulder for like 6 weeks. Like my range of motion
so that's
was
your body
for
telling
6 weeks.
You did something wrong, you weren't prepared for it, whatever it might be. Do you have to bench press? No, you don't have to.
I get nothing out of it.
At the end of the day,
the face you just made when I said hit 305 and you look excited, that's all I got out of it.
That's exactly
That's what I got out of it.
Like, I'll tell people you have to look at what's the end goal. The end goal for you is to be in the best shape of your life, or close to it at 42. You know what I mean?
That's what I want at this point.
That's what we set up. So do you have to bench press to do that? No, probably not.
No.
If you come to me and you're like, Wayne, I also want to bench 400 pounds at 42, then the training is going to look a little bit different.
No, I could care less.
And that's for any athlete that I work with, any, whatever general population.
Speaking of athletes you work with, give everyone a quick background of who you train. He has like a phenomenal list of clients right now. Aside from some of the Providence Bruins, tell him some of the clients you have.
So
I want to add
just to give you guys
credibility.
Just to give you guys a background on me. I went to school for kinesiology, exercise science, URI. I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. 5 years now, actually, since you got me the internship at Nest. Remember that? And it's another story.
I got you the intern.
Remember that?
Oh my God, I did.
Sitting in the store that day,
right?
We could go down that route, but anyway. So thank you, thanks Steve for that one. So for the past 5 years,
I can make everyone successful except myself.
Exactly. So it's tough, but so I've been training athletes of all ages, anyone from the age of say like 10 right up to the professional level. I've worked with pro fighters, pro baseball players, professional hockey players. I would say the majority would be I tend to work with a lot of hockey players and fighters right now anyway.
It's ironic
I also
fight.
so I also direct multiple programs for local high schools. So we have several programs set up across a bunch of different high schools in the state, and I direct strength and conditioning programs for probably, if I had a guess, total 15 to 1800 athletes right now. So it's
impressive to see from when we first met, when you came to me Performance Nutrition, like how fucking intelligent you are with this. It's just like I watched you go from like
try to be just an overeducated meathead at the end of the day, but I appreciate it.
So I just want to clarify, like when a lot of people think of like a personal trainer, that's like looking at somebody who's lean, like I want to get lean, and calling them skinny.
Yep.
Like it's just as insulting as that.
Yeah. So not necessarily insulting. It's just like
a misconception.
From what I do. Yeah, and what I do. So like I said, working with athletes, not just from a performance standpoint. Like I would say, probably 60% of what I do is, someone will come to me for a pro day and they'll be like, I need to run faster. How do I run faster? How do I need a 4.40? How do I get that?
Yeah.
We do that. I do that. And then I do a lot on the rehab side too. A lot of times, athletes will come in, say after physical therapy, they want to bridge the gap. They need to, maybe do a little extra. They want to feel a little more confident getting on the field. I do a lot of those. I've done major injury rehabs from, entire like hip and hamstring tears and reconstructions to, people who had lumbar fusions and kind of figuring out what's up with them. I've done plenty of concussion rehabs at this point.
No, it's so common now.
It's ridiculous.
You wonder how much they didn't look for concussions back in the day.
I think about it think about
when you were a kid, how many concussions you probably had.
I literally don't even want to know. I know that I've had 3. If I know that I've had 3, I've probably had 30. Like, honestly, but so that's a little bit, and then also obviously too, I work a bit with nutrition and stuff like that. So I do provide nutrition and counseling and sports science nutrition and stuff like that for people. So that's a little bit of a background on me and kind of what I've been doing the last 5 years.
It makes me feel so much better that you pay other people to do your programming.
I do,
because I've been doing this for people for almost 20 years. And I want to be accountable to somebody.
And you need someone from the outside to look at your program. If it were up to me, I'm telling you right now, if it were up to me, I would probably just sprint fast, jump high, lift heavy stuff 7 days a week and just run myself into the ground. And I've done that before, and that's just what it is. When it comes to training, I guess you would call it like a performance whore. I'm just like, if I can run faster, jump higher, lift heavier, whatever it might be, just to that's what and then form follows function. So generally, if you're training like an athlete, if you're doing stuff like that, you're probably going to look halfway decent.
Yeah, see,
it just depends on what your goals are.
I just, at this point in my life, I want to do, like, I feel like everything in my life has fallen into place. Mm-hmm. Now, I think like the last piece for me is I want to get outside my comfort zone with my training and my nutrition. I want to throw away everything I thought I knew, and I want your perspective. Yep. I want to be accountable to you. Cool. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
So, anyways, getting back to the training. Like I said, off the top, this stuff's all the top of my head.
No, that's fine.
Usually I'll sit down.
So when you actually program for, so I'm gonna put the whole program. So we'll do the weekly weigh-ins. I'll record everything. This is gonna be. I don't really know how long it's gonna take.
It's tough to put a number on it. I mean, you could say 3 months.
I'd like to be cocky and say, because I'm in such good shape, it'll happen quick, but I'm probably wrong because I'm old and fat. So I literally, everything is going to be put up. So my meal program, my workouts, everything's going to be on Instagram, on Facebook, the YouTube videos. I'll try as best as I can to get videos of me in the gym.
And, I just want to start with, there's a lot of, tweaking involved with this stuff. I wish I could sit here and tell you and be like, I'm going to do out this awesome calculation and this is your exact calories and you're going to eat 2,500 calories a day and you're going to lose weight in 3. But it just doesn't work like that.
No, it never
Everything's
does.
on, some type of scale. There's peaks and valleys, That's why you have to kind of, look at it week to week, month to month, year to year, see where you're at, and then go from there. There's never, this is definitively the answer type of deal.
No,
this is what it's going to be.
Because you don't know how I'm going to respond to it. You have no idea until you actually try it.
It's so it can be extremely simple and at the same time extremely complicated. Sometimes you have to just find
the only thing I'll say is this: I will literally do every single thing you tell me.
Which is awesome.
We were just talking last night. I've already last night from grocery shopping. The whole day today.
He's like, all right, what do I get? I'm like, get the fucking store already.
I told Brianna, I spent almost $300 grocery shopping last night. I told Brianna, I'm like, I want to go to him tomorrow. I want to go. We spend like $3 anyway. Eating healthy is expensive. That's a whole other podcast. How expensive it is to be healthy. But no, I just
there's ways to make it cost effective.
No, there definitely is, but it's again, a lot of people don't have the time or the motivation to go through and do it. That's what we're going to take all the guesswork out of this for you. So he's going to be a recurring guest, by the way. This is going to be like an ongoing thing. So as smart as I think I am, I got him over here to make me feel stupid. So what would your suggestion be, just based on what you know about my training?
Yep.
What would you suggest I change?
If I had to look at it right now, I would probably say I would start by varying the days, and how do I put this? I would probably start having certain days focusing on certain energy systems. So for example, right, one day we might have a little bit more of, say for conditioning work, we might have a little bit more aerobic work 2 to 3 days a week. You know, the other 2 days we might be focusing on alactic, and then after that, you know, maybe some lactic threshold work every 2 months. And basically what that means is you're just working in different time domains, right? So alactic power, right, would be considered super explosive movements. Like if you were doing a 1 rep, 2 rep squat, something like that, your massive alactic power. It's in the absence of lactic acid, right? Alactic capacity work would be like your ability to say
Volume workouts?
No, not necessarily. More repeat sprints on like an Airdyne bike.
Gotcha.
And then something like that. Maybe if you were to consider it, like if you were to put a rep range to it, it might be something in the 6 rep range or 8 rep range. If you know what I mean. So that's how I usually like to break things down and then go from there. Lactic threshold work is, you know, usually like, you know, 30 seconds or more, like that feeling when you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna throw up. Like that's usually
like I have.
Yeah, exactly. You're hitting like lactic threshold. That's more from like a conditioning standpoint. As far as it's tough to put like a like this is how many reps you're gonna do right now.
Well, that we don't have any. I don't have any benchmarks. Like we don't know where I am with anything.
I would say right now the way that I typically like to break it down is you know, I would start you out in some type of what's called an accumulation phase, right? Where we're just doing more general movements, kind of accumulating volume across different movements that, you know, movement patterns that you like, that you're comfortable with, that are going to address your needs, right? And that might be the first 4 weeks, say, right, for a number. And then the next piece, you know, we might bring it into a little bit more strength / power development, or, you know, hypertrophy or something like that. I know for you right now, you're not necessarily looking to get bigger. It's more, you know, let's kind of, you know, stay athletic, you know, stay stronger.
Well, I mean,
and just drop it to a little bit of a
notice we got matching black t-shirts on.
Cute, right?
Men in black.
We called each other before this.
Will Smithing got shit on me.
So like I said, that's just me like riddling off in my head right now.
But these are all things that I don't do. Yep. And you know me. Like I stay right in my comfort zone. I'll change reps.
Yep.
I'll increase, like I'll cut out like weight.
At some point, you know, there's what's funny is when you look at just say like, you know, general people who are training, right? There's usually like 2 ends of the spectrum. There's the person who does the same workout for 10 years and really hasn't changed anything in 10 years, and they're like, why am I stalling? And then there's the program hopper, which I admittedly have done before.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Which I've done like, 2 weeks this, 2 weeks that. That's why, you know, it like you know, sometimes I have to focus down as well. But then there's the program hopper who they don't allow themselves to accommodate to anything. You know what I mean?
You don't have enough time to adjust to it.
You know, you have one particular stimulus for a week, and your body's like, I couldn't even figure out what the hell you were doing, and all of a sudden you switched it. You know, so
that's me.
Basically, the sweet spot is you want to do something for long enough that your body doesn't accommodate to it, and then you change the stimulus. But you also need enough time that your body gets a benefit from whatever that cycle is going to be. If that cycle is going to be, hey, we're going to try and put on some muscle, do it for long enough so that your body's like, okay, we're trying to build some muscle right now. And then after that, you can change it. You know what I mean? And that's what I find.
I go for about 2 weeks. I'm glad you. So now I know what I am. I'm a program jumper. I do 2 weeks.
2 weeks of something.
And it's literally just because I get bored and then I move on to the next thing. But I don't do progression workouts.
Yep.
Like I literally just grab something. Oh, that looks like I'll get a good pump. That's how I gauge my workouts.
So just by talking to you right now, and I'm glad we can kind of like hash this out live. For you, I would probably do something that's a little bit more of like, you would call it a, how do I say it? It's more of like a conjugate or like concurrent model where you're training different modalities throughout the week, right?
Well, we have fun with that.
Which would be cool as shit, right? So basically what we would do is say Monday is more of a upper body max effort type of deal, right? We're doing, you know, maybe one compound move, whether it's like a dumbbell bench press for, you know, a heavy set of 5, whatever it might be, you know, pick your poison. And then, you know, the next day is a lower body dynamic effort where we're doing like maybe a little bit more conditioning, maybe a little bit more like explosive kind of complexes, barbell complexes, stuff like that, right? Then after that, we go into a either a lower body max effort or an upper body dynamic day. So you can vary things within the workouts
and just change it throughout the week.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to structure this.
See, I never thought you could.
Different form,
I thought that'd be counterproductive to keep changing things throughout the week.
Everyone, you have to figure out what you respond to. Some people respond really well to what's called linear periodization, where it's basically you go through like an accumulation phase, a hypertrophy phase, a strength phase, a peak phase, and that's it. You know what I mean? And you just continuously bang, bang, bang. I've never really been that. I kind of benefit a little bit more from that conjugate model where I'm training, different modalities throughout the course of every training cycle. There might be one training cycle where it's a little more focused on accumulating volume, but you can also, pair up an accumulation phase with a conjugate model, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, it does, and it's literally it's the exact opposite.
Basically, what I'm getting at is a million ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, it's crazy. And again, my whole thing is, and Brianna will tell you this, you have a very analytical brain. You have to do what you do right now. Brianna's the exact same way, and she tells me all the time, like I'm here, I want to be there, so my brain forgets everything in between, and I just okay, I'll be over there in a minute. And I don't do everything you have.
Yeah. Whereas I try and break down the steps to.
And to me, I think a lot of my downfall is that because I've been working out for so long and I've never studied it to the level you have. I think a lot of it is just the fact that I don't know how to put all the pieces together, like for that type of program. Exactly. Like I'm good at, you take somebody who's never really get into to health and fitness, worked out, dieted. I'm great with people like that because, but to do the analytical piece,
it's different.
I'm gonna have a fucking seizure in a second.
And like that's the thing, like and I. And I sit down, like say I'm speaking with a parent of maybe a 10-year-old athlete, and if maybe I know, or you're 12 years old, whatever, I know that I'm going to have this athlete for say 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
We don't want them to be the best they possibly can right now. We want them to improve for sure, but you want them to be the best college athlete.
Yeah.
Or I have to look down the road. You know what I mean? When I'm writing a program for someone, like I'm thinking about this piece, like whatever this cycle might be.
But you already know you want to. You see where you want them to go.
I'm mapping out 6 months from now.
So this is just a step. This is
it's a building block, right? One piece builds on another, and that's how a proper progression is set up. And that's how you And don't get me wrong, the progress slows down at some point. You get the newbie gains where all of a sudden you jump onto the bench one day and you threw 30 pounds on your bench press. Like that shit's gone for me and you. But like if you properly progress it, like if you want to get, if your goal is to say increase your bench press, there's a way to properly progress that where, if you were benching 300, maybe at the end of this, 3-month cycle, you're benching 325 or 315 or whatever that number might be, depending on how I'm
going to ask you a question. Just in my head, everything we're saying right now reminds me of like a hybrid kind of CrossFit style workout. How wrong or right am I?
I would say yes and no. I mean,
because I think of like the wide range of things that they do in CrossFit, and I've never done CrossFit.
Yeah. I've dabbled. I trained like not strictly CrossFit. I would call it more of like my version of CrossFit, but I did do a CrossFit-esque style of training for maybe 6 to 8 months or something like that.
How'd you like it?
I liked it. I liked it for me. I think CrossFit has a good model. I don't want to dig into that too hard.
I think there's benefits to everything.
There's benefits to everything. I think they have a good model. If you're doing, there's a difference between basic, the general CrossFitter, someone who walks into a gym and wants to get into shape, and then someone who's a competitive CrossFitter and really wants to push the limits of what's possible. And a guy's an absolute freak, right? I think. Yeah, you could look at it like that because they build different modalities simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like, these guys can clean and jerk 400 pounds and run, sub 5-minute mile or whatever. It's pretty crazy.
It blows my mind.
That's like an extreme level of fitness. So yeah, I guess you could look at it like that, but I wouldn't label it as like the CrossFit ideals because, they have like a very specific model that they tend to stick to. And, so...
I was just curious, just having never done it, but
in the hybrid thing you said, I would say that's probably
what I'm envisioning.
Appropriate. That's what hybrid style of training, and that's kind of what I do. You know what I mean? I realized a while ago, I was training for a little bit more focus on powerlifting for power bodybuilding, whatever you want to call it. This was like probably 4 or 5 years ago.
I remember when you and Dave did that competition.
Yeah, we were doing stuff like that, and I felt great. I was getting stronger, and I probably could have pushed that pretty far. But I realized that for me, I didn't enjoy it, and that's just for me. I mean, at some point, I probably will go back to powerlifting. Focus on that a little bit more. For me, I enjoy being a little bit more of like a hybrid athlete. I like sprinting and jumping.
I think you like the variety
stuff, and I like the variety.
And it's got to be hard having all that knowledge in your head and only sticking to one thing.
Oh, it's brutal. Listen, that's why
drive yourself crazy.
That's why it's tough. Like I told you, like, you know what I mean. I'll write myself a workout program, and then after a week, I'm like, nope. I mean, and it just like, you know what I mean. So that's why I now do better at, you know, following other programs.
It's easy to. It's easier at your experience level and the way I grew up in like that 90s era when everything was just straight bodybuilding. Yep. It's like that's what's ingrained in my head. It's so much easier to be accountable to somebody else. It's more
especially with all the online stuff available now and everything.
But it's more fun. It's more exciting. Like when I legit like could not wait to go shopping last night, to go get my body fat done, to do this.
Just like we were talking, it's something new, you know.
Yes,
it's different from what
I like
doing.
new and I like progress.
And you're just gonna have like, okay, this is the plan for the next month,
and you have
crush it, just go.
And I have to be realistic with myself. If I continue to just train the same way I have my whole life, this is probably what I'm going to look like for the rest of my life. And if I'm not seeing results, I'm losing interest.
Exactly.
And I think that's why I jump from program to program so much. And it's just my brain is wired for, I need to see, I need like instant gratification.
Good. I'm glad you just said that, because that's going to dictate, you know, what we do with your...
Yeah, like...
I was actually going to ask you that.
I legit... if Brianna... Bree! Come here! Sorry if I yelled into the mic. She'll tell you, I need to see and feel things immediately. Otherwise, I completely lose interest.
Then you're going to... I mean... You might have to suffer a little bit with this whole nutrition, but I'm probably going to pull your calories. Like,
but I want to get outside of my comfort zone.
I'm really happy you said that. And that dives into like, which we can, like, this is very like, you know, I'm trying to keep things kind of broad and basic, but, you know, on, you know, future episodes, we can kind of dive into, you know, there's different neurotransmitter profiles that people have generally, and there's certain ways to figure it out, and I can kind of, you know, maybe you can link it in show notes or whatever, but we can, you know, provide those resources to people if you're interested in figuring out, you know, what you might do better with from that standpoint. There's some people who need instant gratification, and there's certain things you can look at that determine that. Yeah. And so for someone like you tell me you need instant gratification. Well, what we're probably going to do with, you know, your nutrition plan is maybe put you in a little bit more of an aggressive caloric deficit off the rip. So in a month, you're like, damn, like, you know,
yes.
What the hell? Like, all right, I'm in.
Feed
you know
my
I mean?
insecurities.
I'm kind of like that too. Exactly, right? I'm kind of like that too, where like I need to see something. You know what I mean?
Because
whether
that's
it's like,
something.
Even if I feel something,
further
you know?
motivates me.
Yep.
That's exactly
like
how
my brain works.
People
are like that, but then on the flip side, you can't be too aggressive right off the rip, because
I'll fall into the same rut that I have.
Yeah. Or, you know, what I see with a lot of people is, you know, say you're planning on losing 20 pounds, whatever it might be, and you figure out, okay, I need to be in, you know, this amount of a caloric deficit to lose, you know, 20 pounds, and I'm going to lose this many pounds for this many weeks, whatever. You lower it too quickly. Well, now there's nothing to draw from, because you're going to hit a plateau.
Oh, of course you are.
Everyone at some point, whether it's, you know, after 50 pounds, 10 pounds, I just told you I lost 3 pounds, and I'm slowly cutting weight right now. I lost 3 pounds, and then just hit a plateau where the scale didn't move, nothing moved for like 5 weeks, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm looking leaner, but it's not really going anywhere. And now all of a sudden, scale starts coming down a little bit again. You just have to stay the course. But if you pull too much too early, now there's nothing.
Was your body going
to
like shock or something?
Not even necessarily shock. It's just, again, it's like if I dropped you to all of a sudden 1,500 calories a day, and you're, you know, licking a piece of lettuce for breakfast,
oh my God,
you're gonna lose weight, guaranteed. But then
I wouldn't be able to function.
In 2 months, where do I go?
There's nowhere to go.
What am I going to do? Have you start, you know, sprinting up and down the street and not eat
Walk
for 4
to
days?
work.
Yeah, you know, there has to be a system and a progression to it, just like with the training, right? There's a progression to the diet, there's a progression to the training. Same thing.
I want to point out that my wife, I called her almost 3 minutes ago. She hasn't shown up yet. The level of disrespect I have to deal with, astonishing. She's marking her territory. She's trying to prove something to Wayne. That's all this is.
Maybe. I think so. I haven't been around for a while, so
I'm afraid of her. It doesn't matter. She can stay out there. Yeah. So we got the diet down.
Yep.
We got the nutrition down. Now I want to bring up something where this, being in the store, you know this.
Yep.
Most people can't, and again, I'm guilty of this. Most people don't want to put the time into what we're discussing right now. So what will they turn to? Pro hormones, steroids. I'm just throwing a hypothetical out there. If I never talked to you about this and I kept continuing down the path that I was on, I'm like, I'll just jump on some drugs and maybe lose some weight.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What'll happen is I'll just become a more swollen version of myself.
Most likely,
I'll just most likely retain more water.
Without manipulating your nutrition or training or any other variable. Yeah, probably. If you just did the exact same thing that you're doing right now, yeah, because they're not magic.
They're not.
I mean? You have experience. Like it's just... there's nothing magical about them, you know what I mean?
No, there's really no shortcuts.
They amplify an already solid plan, is what they do, and that's
Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there because a lot, and again, we saw this in the store. How many times? God, we sold so many pro hormones, and it's just you see these guys. They swell up. They put on 8 to 10 pounds of water weight for like 6 or 8 weeks.
Yep.
And then they come off
and they retain nothing.
They keep none of it. They can't get an erection. Yep. They're growing tits. Like it's a mess afterwards. So for anyone listening to this, I spent the first 5 years I started working out. I started when I was 15 years old. So from 15 to 20 years old. And back then, Jesus, we had Mega Mass 4000. Like you could get weight gainers like a box. It was garbage.
Remember the pre-workouts they used to cut with pro hormones?
God.
I'm like, oh my God. Like, how did I gain 9 pounds off of taking this pre-workout?
So when I was a kid, I would buy Mega Mass 4000. I don't know who's old enough to know what this was. But I would take that. This is no bullshit. I would put ice cream, peanut butter, a banana, raw eggs.
Like
I was a big fan of raw.
Shake.
I would drink it. I would go to the bathroom halfway through the shake, lose most of it, then come back and finish it. But I put on in 5 years, from 15 to 20 years old, I put on like 25 pounds of solid tissue. But it took me 5 years.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
It's just like to now at 40, 41 years old to imagine putting on 25 pounds of solid muscle.
Yeah.
Probably never going to happen.
Putting on muscle tissue is very difficult for a reason. Like I said before, right? Your body wants to stay in a state of homeostasis. Putting on muscle tissue is a very costly thing for your body,
my God.
Right? You know what I mean? 3,500 calories per 1 pound of muscle tissue? You know what I mean? So there you go, right? You have
to hold on to that 35. So you got to figure in your basal metabolic rate.
And you got to convince your body to, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm investing in this consistently.
It's a lot.
We're going to put on this amount of weight. And then once you get to that weight, you need to hold it for a certain amount of time. And that's the other thing I want to touch upon. When I feel like that's something, whether people are gaining weight, losing weight, staying stable. Once you say lose a significant amount of weight, whether it's 100 pounds or 20 pounds,
how do you maintain it?
How do you at some point you need to maintain that for a certain period of time, so that becomes a new set point for you.
Oh yeah.
And then from there,
that's a whole other plan.
And then from there, like I was talking about, we slowly increase. Titrate back up. So now all of a sudden, whereas before maybe you're at 2,200 calories a day, at 185, now all of a sudden you're able to stay at 185, 188, pretty lean, feeling really good, but you can eat 2,800 calories a day, 3,000 calories a day, and it's just a slow process. The problem is most people don't want to hear it's a slower process. They want, a very quick fix, a quick thing. They want, it's going to happen in a month, and unfortunately, it's just not realistic. You know what I mean? I'm
so glad you brought that up. My focus right now is from Valentine's Day to Valentine's Day of 2021.
Really
that's so
realistic.
I always had this idea because I noticed being in the Northeast with the seasons, my eating habits change with the seasons. So I always, like when I was a kid, I would start September 1st because that's when fall actually used to start.
You start gaining weight.
I would because it's getting colder, it's getting darker. So your body naturally wants to put weight on. Yeah, so like I always planned my workouts, my eating habits when I was younger around the seasons. Summertime, spring, it's warm. I don't eat as much. It's a good time to lose weight anyway. So as we're having this discussion, it is now what? It is the 8th.
Yep.
So my focus is literally the first, February 1 to February 1 of 2021. So I'm putting this program, I'm planning on doing this for the next 12 months.
Yep.
I don't expect this to work in 2, 3, 4 weeks. I'm literally mapping out the next 12 months of programming.
And you're going to see results along the way. But what I tell people, anyone that I work with, whether it's an athlete, a general client, stuff like that, unless we're doing, unless someone comes in and they got 6 weeks for a pro day or something like that, that's a totally different story. Yeah. But, someone who wants to, have a longer strength progression or a longer, let's get in shape, let's lean out, let's recompose, let's gain some muscle, lose some fat, maybe whatever. If you want that to happen in 5 weeks, I'm probably not your guy because it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It is what
no,
it is.
I'm laughing because you remember there was one time a kid came in Performance Nutrition. This is no bullshit. Kid walks in the store. He says, I need abs. I says, I'm going on a cruise in 12 days. On my grandfather's soul.
What do I do?
12 days. This is exactly what I said to him. I said, hey, look, I said, grab that front door. I said, walk out. I said, go up and down Post Road Mall. I said, lick every doorknob as you go down the street. Maybe you'll get a stomach virus.
And that's your only chance.
Like, you ain't got a shot in hell. He never came back, by the way.
Unfortunately, I feel like, a lot of times,
I think the magazines, the marketing for this industry, it gives you the impression that this is like a quick thing, like 6-week program, 6-week abs.
Listen, that's cool. That's sexy. No one wants to hear.
Such bullshit.
No one wants to hear. Hey, this is going to take a little while. Here's a moderate approach. And let's get you to your goal in 8 months or a year, and then have it be sustainable for the rest of your life. No one wants.
It's harder now because everything in life happens so fast. Information, news, everything is instant gratification.
And everyone has that goal in mind. It's always like, hey, I got this cruise in 2 months. I gotta be shredded, and it's like, well, wait a second.
Okay,
let's dial back.
Can you move it?
Yeah, like can we move that cruise back? 8 months. I don't know what to tell. So. Yeah, I would usually tell people, you have to have realistic expectations. You will get to your goal if you're consistent. And again, consistency is the key. The number one reason I see people, fall off or not get to their goals, whether it's body composition, performance, rehabbing an injury, whatever it might be, is consistency. It's sticking with the process for long enough so that you get your result. But the reason why people fall off on that is because they may expect that result within 2 months, and realistically they were 6 months away, and no one told them that. They weren't sold on that idea.
Well, because everybody wants, and everyone's trying to get you as a customer or a client or whatever, so they're telling you what they think you want to hear. My mentality right now is, 26 years I've been working out. As of this conversation, or yesterday, my mentality is I've been building clay. If you want to look at this like a sculptor, I've been putting clay together for the last 26 years. Now it's time to shape it. That's the mentality I have. And awesome. I'm committing. I mean, obviously, I'm never. If you cut my arms off, I'd find a way to work out. But I'm committing to at least from February to February. That's what I'm projecting. So by this time next year, I want to be in the best physical condition of my life.
Awesome.
That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I can't wait. All right, so listen. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna reconvene. We're gonna put together the program, the diet, and all that. I'm gonna post all this stuff. We'll put everything on here. My weekly weigh-ins. We'll do all that. You guys are lucky you get to see me with my shirt off today. Keep a wastebasket close by in case you get sick. Kind of pale. It is February in the Northeast.
He'll be shaved though, clean.
I did have Brianna clean me up today.
I noticed.
Well, I liked it. I get the Italian lat hair. It looks like a hairy little wings.
You and me both.
I can't stand that.
That is what it is.
When you wash yourself in the shower and you pull the hair out and exit and you do the little...
It's there.
Not a fan. I'm not editing that out either. Yeah. So listen, thank you so much for coming on today. I can't wait.
Appreciate it.
We're going to take care of all this. We'll get all the information over to you guys. So Wayne Gray, actually, the Gray, what's your Instagram?
Instagram handle, the Gray 30.
The Gray. Great Liam Neeson
I almost
movie.
changed it like a while ago.
Don't change it.
No. I was going to change it. You would have liked this, and I never did it. I was going to change it to 50 Shades of Gray. And that solid, like when the movie hype was in, I was just like, you know what? And I just never did it. But
that would be such a great porn name.
I know. I'm not on Instagram enough. I need to focus on that a little bit more.
Listen, so
provide a little bit more content.
There's two things we're going to accomplish with this. You're going to get me into peak physical condition, and my hope is that you build an online business out of this. I'd like to see you do your own podcast, like your own fitness thing, because you belong doing this. I'm just a middle-aged chump with a hot wife that got lucky with one thing in life.
You got one.
I got lucky with one thing.
But it was a hell of a thing.
So, guys, listen, thank you so much for watching from the Bardi Shop, from our Bardi to yours. Tune in next time, and hopefully I won't be so chunky and pale. Is tanning acceptable?
Yes, it is.
Tanning. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.